Most men, they don't want respect. They want self-respect. Respect is a manifestation of how much you respect yourself, how much you love yourself, what you're willing to tolerate from others bounces back from how you feel about yourself. You might have been someone who's never actually followed all the way through with something. You always quit. You always bend. You always fold under the pressure. That comes from a lack of self-respect. The other day I talked about, the lack of self-belief. Self-belief is rootedness in who you are. And the amount of self-belief that you have reflects through your self-respect. Everyone inherently knows who they are, but not everybody has taken the time to actually define who they are. What does that look like? You should be able to answer who you are very quickly. Now, if you can't answer who you are very quickly, you haven't taken the time to really sit with yourself and define who you are on an identity level. How do you know what your identity is, though? Words like always, I'm always this always happens to me, is how you subconsciously see yourself. If you ever been around a woman who's like, I always have bad things happening to me, she's really saying that inherently deep down inside, she doesn't believe good things should happen to her. So she's identified with, I'm a woman who always has bad things happen to her. I'm a woman who doesn't deserve good things to happen to me. So her mind now subconsciously is always scanning for something negative to happen to her because that negativity is safe for her. And when you see that frame of mind and you start to think from that perspective, you're going to be able to see how fucked up a lot of us are in the head. And yes, I say a lot of us. Me recording this video and you watching this video. Because all of us have some toxicity from this society that we live in, especially you're in Western society, that you have to detoxify from. We live in a very carnal society, a very fleshly society. If you're not spiritual in this society, you're fucked. If you have no belief in the Most High, in the scriptures, I'm very candid with y'all on who I believe in. You are fucked because all the issues that are arising in current times are gonna drive you crazy. When you look at the manosphere, right, or the self improvement space, there's so many bitter guys out there. Oh, well, you need money to have women, and you need to have a six pack, and you need to have all these looks, and blah 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 blah. It's bullshit. It's cope from actually putting in the work to filter out what women is actually going to be good for you. How do you attract that woman? How do I express myself in a way where she sees the value of who I am? And that comes back to one thing: self respect, self belief. Today's topic is self respect. Most men do not want respect from others, they want self respect. How do you build your self respect? Your self respect is built by you keeping your word in private moments and in public with no pressure and with pressure. People allow themselves to be disrespected because they are dealing with a low self worth, because they are dealing with a low self esteem. Why else would you allow someone to shit talk you? Why else would you allow yourself to show up short despite being fully competent? Many of us ambitious men, honestly, a lot of our ambition comes from our insecurities. Like, let's talk about it. It comes from being scarce with women, being scarce with money, being scarce, in other areas in our life, being in a state of survival. Because why else would you be so driven to not be in a state like that again? You see, for me, I grew up in a culture where we've always been taught you were given this opportunity in this country, and you not taking full advantage of it is you not living up to what we had to sacrifice for you to be able to be here. And that's the realism of Mexican culture. And I'm sure a lot of immigrant households go through this. We came to America for you to have a better life. And if you think about it, that is a way of gaslighting and a way of putting expectations that shouldn't be there. Because as a parent to a child, you should say to yourself, I want the best for my child, but I'm not going to tell my child, hey, I sacrificed my life, my life to live for you so you could have a better life. Because in the mind of a child, now I have to live up to these expectations so I could fulfill your life too, which doesn't make any sense, which is off topic, but it is something that is true in a lot of ambitious men. We don't want to be scarce. So when it comes to respect, a lot of people, a lot of y'all still have a lack of self-respect in some aspect, in some part of you. Because for you to allow yourself to not be able to fully commit to who you know you are in your head, for you to betray your word, betray who you are in your essence, still tells me, and it tells yourself, because you know this true, that there's a part of you that doesn't respect yourself, that doesn't have the regard, that doesn't have the care enough to really say, why the fuck would I allow this to happen to me? After my relationship with my ex, and I was reflecting and looking at myself in the mirror, I was like, bro, you really lost fucking regard for yourself, which is what respect is. You really lost respect for yourself. Because why the fuck would you let someone come into your life and allow the pleasure that that person is bringing you to completely betray who you are? Which was a man who was disciplined, which was a man who was loving enough of himself to take care of himself and tell himself the truth. And that's a wound that I had to carry for a long time, was that I actually lost that respect for myself. And it's not like people stopped respecting me, but I could tell that even within my own kin, the level of respect wasn't there, because that kid who grew up with this great self-belief, he was still there, but now he was buried under all the failure, perceived failure, and shame that he was carrying now. As I began to heal and rebuild myself, the level of respect that I began to gain from others reflected, because my self-respect started to go back up. My excuse me. My Whew. My standards for myself started becoming law again. My word started to become law to me. It didn't matter who was around me. Whatever the fuck I said stayed, because I needed to stay true to myself. is no disrespect to the other person. Because I know a lot of dudes like to get on the internet and be like, oh, rah, fucking, you gotta say fuck everybody and fuck everything. Bro, that's not realistic. That's not fucking real life. There's people, you could have friends and still be successful. Just understand that your mentalities and outlooks in life are gonna be way different. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the time, if you are an ambitious man, you will be seen as too much for the average person. You will be around a lot of envious people, monitoring spirits, as they say, looking at your every move, looking behind the bush to see if you're going to fall and fail, so that they could have the satisfaction that, yeah, see, he's not who he says he is. So that's something you do have to consider while you're building yourself up as a man. Can you handle the envy that comes with increasing as a man? Many men cannot. So they decide to shrink. They decide to shrink themselves because they subconsciously understand that they do not want the fucking smoke because it is very uncomfortable. And I know from experience. And the truth of the matter is, it will not be from people that are far away from you, strangers. It will be the people that are often most closest to you that will show the most envy. The scripture says, who shall stand before envy? And that's the truth. The more attention you feed envy, the more you notice it, the more it drains you. Respect from others is a manifestation of how much you respect yourself. What standards are you constantly breaking to yourself? What things are you running from? What discomfort are you running from that is causing you to believe that you're someone who folds under pressure? You're someone who doesn't love themselves enough, because that's really what it is. When a woman disrespects you, that's really seen as her not giving a fuck about you. So when you think about respect, you have to ask yourself, what part of me does not give a fuck about myself? To let myself get fat? To let a woman come in and take over my life? To let my business collapse? I've talked about before on this channel that sometimes it is like it is a relief thing that there's so much pressure on yourself which causes you to collapse. But it is also respecting. How much do you respect yourself? How much do you respect yourself? You could have all the confidence in the world, right? Because that's what most guys want, is confidence. People will still disrespect you. You could fucking fake confidence. You can't fake self-respect. Especially with a dude like me who's super aware, I could pick up on how much someone respects himself instantly. And I'm sure many of you can as well. And what it looks like is that some people will say, and I kid you not, I hear this often. Oh, well, I'm going to eat like shit because, I'm going to die anyways. So why even? And they'll laugh it off. But there is truth in jest. There is truth in jokes. That's really how they feel about themselves. You know? So you have to ask yourself, why does if I find myself being disrespected by people, being dissed, being slighted, what part of me does not respect myself? What am I running from? What discomfort am I running from? Have I actually taken the time to do the work to actually define who I am? So I could see myself as a man worthy of respecting? Do you see yourself as a man worthy of respecting? We always look for a band aid, a solution, an external solution to an internal problem, a carnal solution to a spiritual problem. To go full circle, that woman who's always looking for or always saying bad things happen to her, oh, bad things always happen to me, and she's always finding herself in bad situations, you cannot outrun a curse. And the truth of the matter is, what she doesn't realize is that she's cursed because she sees herself as someone that always bad things happens to her. So what's going to happen? She's going to attract bad people. She's going to attract bad situations. It all starts with you. The woman that I presented, she'll look for people that will uplift her. She might even have people that uplift her, but she never seems to recognize them, and it's never enough for her, no matter how much validation, no matter how much recognition, because she has not taken the time to actually see if that's true in her life or not, because her mind has tricked her into believing that it is true and that that does always happen to her. So if you find yourself always being disrespected and you tell yourself, see, nobody takes me seriously, I'm not a man nobody takes seriously, do you take yourself seriously? Do you respect yourself?